And you're in London, and that makes me ask why you're in London. I wonder if this has to do with Brexit. What brings you here?
It definitely brings me here, but besides the Brexit, which is definitely a key element of my stay here, I also want to attend the game between Arsenal London and Eintracht Frankfurt.
Okay, excellent. Well, I hope you get equal amounts of pleasure from both of those reasons for the trip. Hubertus, let me ask you not about the football, but about the Brexit story then. What is your biggest fear, I suppose, about the impact of Brexit on the links between Frankfurt and London?
Actually, I don't have that much of a fear because I think the banks are ready, they're prepared. In the beginning, when we saw the time pressured, there were big worries about the repapering, would that work, would they get ready? But I think today the systems are up and running, the repapering basically been done 80% and above, and I don't have much worry except that the uncertainty drags on. I think the industry is ready and wants to get the Brexit done and know which way to head.
What is your latest assessment of the benefits that Brexit might bring to Frankfurt, the jobs gained or the business gained, assuming that is your vision?
I think the easiest numbers to talk about is, first of all, we've got almost 60 applications by financial institutions that decided to either completely newly set up or expand Frankfurt operations. That are more than 50 institutions. We expect a total of close to 800 billion assets moving. We expect also a significant chunk of the interest rate, euro-denominated interest rate swap clearing to move to Frankfurt. We've seen already 10% of that volume shift. DK is a good example of that. But in terms of jobs, it's not been a big splash yet. Why am I saying that? It's just about 1,500 jobs which we've seen moving. It's not people, it's jobs that's been moving. And we know of roughly 2,000 people that do have in their contracts a clause that says once Brexit is there, you got to move. So as soon as we have clarity, as soon as the deal is done, then we see a major shift. But that will only be the beginning. That adds up to 3,500. And depending on what the final agreement is going to be, because the agreement we have on the table right now says nothing about financial services. So it's still very much in the open.
So there's still a lot to play for. And I'm sure if there were representatives of the London City or financial organisations here, they'd say, look, the depth of business that's been built up here in financial services and the legal services around that, you know, they go back centuries, and that doesn't just get undone overnight.
Absolutely. I completely agree. And by the way, we're the first to say that London will remain, and that's very good, by the way, for the entire European Union, that London will remain a world-leading financial centre. And the least thing we want to do is really cap the ties. What we, however, always said and maintained is that it's better to have a constructive bridge, because some chunks of the business, all the business that are based on passporting, they will have to move for legal reasons. And at the end of the day, London will remain Europe's leading financial centre.
OK. Back to the sort of business of banking and the framework around it that Frankfurt operates in. There's been a lot of talk about banking union across the Eurozone and how likely it is that we get a pan-Eurozone bank deposit guarantee. The finance minister speaking out on this recently. Is the community in Frankfurt keen on that? Do they want to see that banking union really coming to life?
Well, there is not one voice on that one. There is clearly different interests in it. But to put that in perspective, there are three main pillars for the financial sector in Europe to really become a common market. One is banking union, the other is capital market union, the third is EDIS, the European Deposit Insurance Scheme. The later one has been the most controversial of it. It's been on the table since November 2015. And what I see is that the German Minister of Finance readies himself for Germany taking on the lead in the European Council in the second half of 2020. And if you remember Brexit, that is going to be the time when more or less things will be decided. And he wants to ready himself to come to a conclusion that Europe is really able to take on that business and to have a stable common market on financial services, which we as of today not having.